Okay. Just now your definition of the whether it's a flawed. Are you referring to whether the
So
topic is a
yeah,
flaw?
just talk about flaw, right? FLAW, which is the flaw, I think, of the topic. And yeah, do you want me to repeat again? Yeah.
Yeah, don't
Yes.
need. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't need.
So you want me to repeat? You.
No need.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me try to understand what you said. Just now you say this is a flaw. Do you mean that you're asking me whether the topic is a flaw because uh, whether the plan of obsolescence is something real or something not real? But you found that because producer know more information than consumer, so that this is something the plan obsolescence is something that inevitable, so it must be real. Is it like this?
Real, or we say this concept is not real or not real. What do you mean by not real? Not real means it doesn't happen, doesn't exist, or what?
Real means a real means this is something that can happen. There is something not created out of thin air. Just like inflation is real. Inflation is not something
Yes.
that doesn't exist. Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you ask me about whether it's a flaw or not, are you referring to a topic or are you referring to the 10 obsolescence?
Yeah, plan obsolescence. Uh, it is it is real. It is real, and I think the flaw is more about the topic, because I seems like wanted to find out whether it is good or bad, and then it seems like we want or we don't want. But I think
Okay.
it is more than inflation. Inflation, we can have the opposite, which is the deflation.
Mm. But what is the opposite of 10 obsolescence?
Is every what did you say? A bad connection. Do you ask me the opposite of planned obsolescence?
Yes.
Yeah, the opposite is like they don't know about the product lifespan. They didn't have a plan how long this product is gonna last, and they just sell you the product. They didn't like wanted uh to make any plan for that.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Eric. It seems like bad connection again. Hello.
hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Bad connection
Mm,
again. Yeah, I use another phone's hotspot. Can you wait with me for a few seconds? I
okay.
open the hotspot and connect. Okay, testing. Yeah, can you hear me clearly?
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Now it's
Okay.
much better. Okay,
Okay.
and just as you say the opposite of the planned obsolescence, you say that it's actually in your definitions, the opposite of the planned obsolescence is like they don't know any information
Mm,
much more than consumer, and then so that they don't know about the useful life, and
mm,
so they just produce a product,
mm. Yep.
right? Mm,
Yeah.
but it couldn't
What
be
about?
true because producer, of course, they know more than the consumer,
Mm,
right? Because they are the producer.
mm. Yeah.
But when you talk about the planned obsolescence, are you focused on the plans? Are you focused on the obsolescence? And also, what is the relationship between knowing more information or not, and whether the product obsolete or not?
Mm, yeah, because I think if they don't purposely make the products lifespan shorter, I mean almost every products that will they will started to breaking and then damaging and until one day it is broken.
Mm.
So the producer is just like they choose whether they want long or short. But at the end, they also this is their plan. They want long or short.
Okay, and
Yeah.
if this is if it you if if it fit you the opposite of the definition of the planned obsolescence, if this is in that scenario, do you think consumer can get better product if producer know nothing more than a consumer? Do you think consumer can get a better product?
Consumer, I think they could. Uh, producer don't know. The
Producer
producer,
don't know what they are producing.
yeah, it must be a bad thing.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
producer must know more than consumer because they are the producer. They know how to cut costs. They know how to aggregate. They know how to convert the input material, labor, land, capital, and make a product, and that suit the consumer taste. If they don't know about the product more than a consumer, they couldn't produce a better product than a consumer.
Yeah.
And give you one example, you hire you uh let's say for example, you clean your room every day. You know how
Mm,
to clean your room. You know how to how to place how to place the item at
yeah.
uh at a location in your room. You know how your room must look like. And then now your mother comes in. Your mother wants to help you clean the room, and you refuse. You refuse her to do that because she don't know how what's the thing you want to place. I sorry, I miss a. She don't know what is the location of of an item you want to place. She
Mm,
has no idea.
yeah.
And when she clean your room, she just mess it up. She doesn't really clean your room. She just mess it. She just mess your room.
Yep.
Yeah. So in this case, try to imagine you give money to your mother, and then you ask your mother comes to help you to clean your room, or you ask a cleaner help you to clean your room,
Yeah.
and without any instructions, the person who help you clean the room and receive the money is a producer. They
Mm,
provide you the service, but they have no idea how to do it. Uh, uh, how you do it. What is the best for you? How to do it well for you.
yeah.
Mm. So in this case, if if you receive the services, do you really feel good? Do you really become better off?
Not really. Yeah, because this is not what I want.
Mm. And also compare to if you have the same if the producer have the same piece of information as you, but she don't have a better idea how to clean the room. And let's say your opportunity cost to clean the room is, let's say, $10, and the person you hire, you pay him also $10. Will you prefer to clean your room or ask another body to clean your room?
Okay, for here we assume that we have the same information, right?
Yeah, I mean, and also at the same time, the opportunity cost is the same.
Okay. In that case, I think maybe hire someone to do because I don't have to cost my energy. I can just sit.
No, sorry, I mean the cost, the opportunity cost is the same. Yeah.
Then there will
Do
be
you
no.
know? Yeah, it will be no difference. Yeah,
Yep.
in terms of energy of those things, everything. Yeah, just the opportunity cost. Yeah. The opportunity cost is exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have no incentive. You have no incentive to do it. Just like for another example, let's say you are very hungry. You can cook for yourself right now. You can cook a Maggi mee, or you ask somebody help you to cook the Maggi mee, and you need to call him and wait them come, and then when they come, they also need to cook the Maggi, and then they pour into a pot, and then they hand it to you, and then you pay him money.
Yep.
But this is something you can do it for yourself. But maybe at the first time, this is your first time to cook the Maggi, you don't know how to do.
Yep.
Or maybe you are not familiar. This is maybe you didn't cook frequently, but you know how to cook it. You have seen, and you know how to search the video to you know how to find the tutorial how to cook a tutorial about how to cook a Maggi, and you're pretty sure that this is a very easy thing and you can do it. You won't burn your house. And then in this case, it could be the case. It can be a case. The opportunity cost is exactly the same. You cook for yourself and other people cook for you is exactly the same, and it's just a Maggi.
Yep.
Just pour the water. Just put just put your meat, and then just put the spices. It's very easy. Nothing more than that. You won't get a different flavor. Yeah. So my viewpoint is, if producer know exactly the same as a consumer, and consumer will have no incentive to buy the product from the producer. There are few reasons, because when you ask somebody to produce product for you, there's a transaction cost.
Yep.
And also the producer is not you. They don't know what is your preference. But if you can really produce the product, then you can produce product at your own preference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give you another example. Will you drive your car to office, or hire an unknown person to drive the car, and then you sit at the passenger seat, and then the unknown person drive the car for you and take you to your office?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can know there's some transaction cost here, and you need some mechanism to know whether this unknown person, this stranger, he has the ability, whether he has the ability to drive my car at best, because I know my car more than him, and also I know the route, because this is the route to my office.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so you will have less incentive to hire a driver to drive the car for you. Yeah, of course. This is another. it will be a different story if you are very, very rich and then you try to hire a driver and then drive your car every day. This is another case. Yeah. I mean, it's just about because you say something has a useful life. And so it's just a simple example. And it's okay. And so conclusion to me, if consumer has the same information as a producer, consumer will become the producer. If producing a product can give you utility, can give you higher utility. Yeah. And and so this is a case. I think this is not a good analogy, and this is not the good analogy about the opposite, or is not a good definition of the opposite of the planned obsolescence. And when you think about planned obsolescence, are you looking from a perspective of consumer or producer? I bet you're looking the perspective from the consumer, right?
Perspective consumer. Yeah, I think it's both. Yeah, because I plan to discuss from both sides.
I mean, yeah. Okay, but most of the time, we care about whether the product, about the useful life of those things, is it good for consumer or not, right?
Yeah.
Most likely, we don't care about the producer, whether they earn a lot of profit or not. Yeah. If the producer can earn a lot of profit as a consumer, are you willing to give up your money to them? For worse product, they can earn money.
Worse product, yeah.
You will not do that, right?
Yeah, if I have other choices.
I mean the willingness. Sorry, I miss the willingness. I think you didn't fully understand my my question. I mean, if you know the producer can earn a lot, can earn more profit by giving you an inferior product, were you willing to give them? Were you willing to change? Were you willing to give them more money to buy a more expensive product and get a less quality product just because you know that there's a benefit to them? The benefit is they increase their profit. Will you do that?
Of course we will be.
Yeah, of course you will not do that. And you may seem ridiculous. And I mean, my question seems ridiculous, but if I change the scenario, it's not ridiculous anymore. For example, you give your mother money, and then you your mother don't willing to take your money, and you really want to give your mother money, and then your mother insists she want to do something for you, and you know that you are better off at any aspect than your mother, let's say, and she couldn't do something better than you, and she'll just mess the thing up. But because you want to give the money to your mother, and you will ask your mother, okay, let's say you help me clean the room, or you help me sort these documents, and from alphabet A to Z, but you can do it within a minute, but your mother will do it by using a 30 minutes. And you ask your mother to do that because your mother, only by doing this, your mother will take your money. Then in this case, yeah, right?
Yeah.
You want to give your mother the money, and then you they resist you to do that, and then in order to let them do that, you buy the product, you buy the services, and then you pay for a very, very higher price. Yeah, it's not ridiculous. This is quite often. Yeah. So go back to the consumer and producer. Yeah, consumer have their self-interest. They want a good product. They want the best product at the cheapest price. Yeah, but producer is the opposite. And but does it mean that producer have the ability, have the power, and have the control over the useful life, and consumer can just take it? No, consumer has this have their alternatives. They can change the product. And talk about the opposite of the planned obsolescence. I think when you talk about the planned obsolescence, you need to find out what is the most important thing. What is the main idea of this? Whether it's obsolescence is more important, or whether it's a plan is more important. I think in this case, is obsolescence is more important. And if this is the case, try to think some other goods. The useful life is almost infinity, and the price is always falling, and the quality of the services and the product is always increasing. You can find many products. Yeah. How about phones? You say, okay, phones, this is a planned obsolescence. In the past, you can use the phone for 10 years, but now you can only use the phone for 2 to 3 years. But how about if you look at the utility the phones provide to you? Is it higher or is it lower? If it's lower, why people don't use the old phones? Why they want to change their phones? Why they don't go back to using a Nokia 3310?
Yeah.
This is the hardest phone. And it's cheap. But why? Why nobody want to use that? Yeah. And also, if you don't look at phone, if you look at some other product, for example, the map. Initially, we have the paper maps. Now, who buy the paper maps? Everybody use the Google Maps, and it's free, and it is 100 times better than the paper maps.
Yep.
Yeah. And look about the internet. The speed of the internet, straight line go up. The cost of the internet, straight line go down.
Yes.
No debate. The global is the same. Yeah. Look at about everything that can be improved by technology, and almost everything can be produced can be improved by technology. You will see, yeah, the cost actually is keep reducing. Maybe the nominal cost increasing, which is the face value from 300 to 400. But you need to consider about the inflation, and you need to consider about your wages. Maybe 10 years ago, you buy a refrigerator, it costs you around maybe 700 to 1,000. And the functionality, and also in terms of the electricity consumptions, electricity saving is not so great. But nowadays, you can see when you go to buy a refrigerator, they will have the, let's say, like 5-star, like Samsung, they have the 5-star. It means that it can save your electricity a lot. And sometimes we change a new refrigerator, we actually have a net saving. Where is the saving come from? Is the electricity saving.
Yeah.
And the refrigerator still can use for many years. And even though maybe in the past you can use your refrigerator for 10 years, but now there's no incentive for you to use the old refrigerator more than 10 years because it costs you much more electricity. So you have planned to dispose your refrigerator and buy a new one. It also could be the utility. Yeah. And talk about the usefulness of the refrigerator 10 years ago and right now. Right now, the usefulness of the refrigerator is much greater than 10 years ago. Because nowadays we have so many foods. We have so many variety of foods, and many of them are the frozen. Many of them are also the fresh foods. And because of the global change, because of the global trade, initially you can get only a certain foods, and now you can get a lot of foods. So you buy more foods, you store more in your refrigerator. And talk about the washing machine. Yeah, it's also same water saving, electricity saving, yeah, and functionality, function better, and maybe faster. And talk about the function. 10 years ago, the washing machine can only help you to wash, and it cannot help you to rinse. Yeah, and you need to rinse by your own. This is how my old washing machine work. But nowadays, an affordable washing machine can let you choose the function. You can wash, you can rinse, and it is so easy. And now I wash. You know how many buttons I need to press in order to wash to make the washing machine help me to wash the clothes.
Right now?
Two buttons.
Oh.
Only two buttons. One is
on.
One is on the washing machine, and another is just on. Yeah, it will automatically choose the correct water level, and it will automatically choose the time that they require to wash my clothes. So how many functions you need to put in? You need to detect how many weight of my clothes. You need to detect my clothes level, so it can determine my water the water level. Yeah. Can you get this kind of product 10 years ago? And with more
one, the most expensive one.
Yeah, but and almost impossible, or maybe the product will be much expensive. And why expensive? Because it cannot commercially produce. Yeah. You can buy the best phone. You can buy the best phones from Xiaomi, which costs you around 20k yuan. Yeah, I forget what is the model. Yeah, but the phones I think is maybe like 3 years ago. The Lei Jun share one of the Xiaomi most innovative phones, and use the material of the rockets to build the phones. Yeah, and the phones have the screen. The screen is kind of like 360 degrees from the front to the back.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and this kind of phones, and the phone is very hard, and the glasses, the screen is the best one. Yeah, and the memory is the best one, and all the thing is the best one. But how much it costs? 20k yuan, 20k renminbi. Yeah, will you buy the phones? You are not going to buy the phones. Yeah, even though there is a best function, even though the best bacteria put in it, you are not going to buy it because you don't need it. Yeah. 20k yuan, you know. Do you know how much Malaysian ringgit it costs?
10K?
12k. Yeah, 12k. Sorry, yeah, 12k. 12k to buy a phone. Yeah, wouldn't you buy the latest version of iPhone? And it also give you a very, very good user experience. If you want the best phones. Yeah, you don't need to buy a 12,000 phones. Yeah. And so it leads to the question whether obsolescence, whether a product become obsolescence is really a concern to consumer, or there is other concern to consumer. For example, you buy a clothes. How many years you expect the clothes you can wear?
2 to 3 years.
If producer produce a 10 years clothes, they can wear 10 years, and the price is 3 times more than that, because you say 2 to 3 year, right? So let's assume 3 years. But the producer can produce the clothes. They can that the useful life is 10 years, but the cost must be increased, right? The cost must be increased in order to produce a high quality of product. So let's say it is a linear. The cost and the quality have linear functions. It costs you 3 times more. Will you buy it?
Maybe yes, for me, because I actually feel lazy to buy new clothes, to find new one.
Yeah.
And I think,
but how? Okay, but how much? Okay, how much laziness you put on that? How much the value you get from the laziness you will put on that? Which is you only need to buy the clothes every 2 to 3 years, and in this 10 years you just need to buy 3 times of the clothes. Is the laziness really valued that much? How do you do a trade-off between the laziness and also the patterns? Yeah, and also every other thing. You keep wearing the same clothes. And how about your family member and your girlfriend, or maybe, and also your boss, your employer, your colleague keep seeing you wearing the same clothes for 10 years. And also, how about the fashion? Maybe 10 years later, your clothes don't have that fashion anymore. Hello?
yeah. Exactly.
And also, this is all the issue. Yeah. And no one are willing to buy a clothes that will last for 10 years and pay a higher price. And also, you need to know that if you want to improve a product, it's exponentially higher. Let me rephrase. If you want to produce a higher quality of product, it's exponentially harder. Just like if you want to get a higher mark in the exam, it's exponentially higher.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
So couldn't it just because of the preference, the consumer preference, trends, the producer focus on something that works and something don't work, which means the consumer don't value it, and it's not going to work. Why? Because the cost is much higher than the consumer are willing to afford. And talk about the clothes, what the consumer care about. They care about the fashion. Of of course they care about the quality, but they don't really care about the useful life. Yeah, they care about the cartons, the textures, whether it's comfortable or not.
Yeah.
But do you think comfortable a clothes is very comfortable doesn't mean that the useful life is longer? No.
No. Yeah.
No. Maybe I think most of the time have the inversion relationship.
Yeah.
Try to imagine you can wear plastic. It is totally uncomfortable, but it can last maybe 10 years, maybe 12 years, maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
If you wear a cut,
the denim of the jean is kind of like thicker and then harder, but they last longer.
Yeah. And maybe you and also you want the clothes is lighter. You want to buy the material that is light. You don't want your clothes is very heavy. Yeah. So you try to imagine producer spend a lot of money, spend their resources, buy the material, do so much thing to produce a product to consumer. Are they going to risk their businesses by doing so-called the planned obsolescence, giving the consumer a worse product in order to maximize their profit? Can they do that? How about the competitions? Yeah. If consumer really value the useful life, yeah, they must have the producer do that and suit the consumer preference, suit that useful life preference, because they can earn a lot of money. That means a producer can earn a lot of money. But no. Yeah. And try to think another way. Technology keep improving, and the product keep and the price of product keep reducing, and the functionality of the product keep improving. So if you have to choose to buy a car, or if you have to choose to rent a car, to rent the same car, let's say rent the same car, and you can sign a 2 years lease agreement.
Okay.
With a car renting company, or you can sign a 10 years agreement. And how much price you are willing to pay for a 2 years contract versus a 10 years contract? Of course, 2 year contracts, the cost per year will be much higher than the cost per year for 10 year contract, right? Because you rent longer. But how much you are going to pay that? How much more you are going to pay that? Yeah. Are you going to pay the same in terms of the cost per year? You are not going to do that, because you just lock yourself in a contract, and you definitely know that, 100% certain you can get a cheaper contract and a better product in future if you want to lease the car in the future. Yeah, after 2 years you can lease another car, and the price is different, and the functionality of the car is different, and the quality of the car is also different, and whether the car is old or not is also different. Yeah, assume that you can rent a car. Will you prefer to rent a new car, or you prefer to rent an old car? You prefer to rent a new car. Yeah. So many product is actually you can replace the rent to the buy. But try to use another perspective to think that, wouldn't you just rent everything? I rent a chair because every years I need to quote unquote buy a new chair. It's also similar to I rent a chair. Yeah. I buy a water bottle, and I know that every 6 months I need to replace it. Wouldn't it just be the same? You rent the water bottle and pay the same price, and every 6 months the the seller will replace a new water bottle to you. Actually, they are the same. Why they are the same? Because you are paying something. You are paying the money in getting one product or services. Just a cost structure. The cost structure is a difference. When you buy the thing, you own it. When you rent the thing, you're not technically on it. Yeah,
Yep.
and there's a contract. When the contract ends, whether the product is the value of the product, whether it's being extracted by you, fully extracted by you or not, utilized by you or not, it doesn't matter. You just return the product. And when you buy the product, you'll be more careful because you know if you break it, you need to buy a new one. So try to keep the useful life longer.
Yeah.
By nature, they are the same. You are paying something to get something, to get nothing. So my question is, in a competitive environment and also in a technology advance, exponentially grow environment, can the producer really do the thing so-called planned obsolescence by discriminate the consumer preference? So this is my whole idea about this planned obsolescence.
Yep. Yeah. So there is a strong relationship between what the consumer wants and then the producer's ability to
Profits?
products, right? And then they can survive. I think they can shorten the lifetime. I mean, shorten is easier than to make it longer. If they shorten, they can like give more benefits to that products, maybe better functions, but the lifespan may be shorter than other products, 1 to 2 years. Yeah, but
Okay,
longer is more difficult.
Okay, yeah, but here the key point is a plan. Whether the plan to do that, whether the plan to reduce the useful life, or is it just a trade-off? Because you add more function, the product is more complex, right? The product is more complex, so it has more vulnerabilities. If it has higher vulnerabilities, they will affect the phone function. They will affect a product function. Yeah. Talk about the washing machine. The washing machine still can function. Still can pump the water. But what if it couldn't detect the water level? You will say this washing machine broken because it cannot detect the water level. But in the past, you need to judge the water level by your own when you use the washing machine. It will not help you do automatically. Yeah. And also some of the functions are linked together. If one thing break, the whole thing couldn't use.
Yeah. This is exactly what some modern car right now. Sometimes they found that just a little button is broken and the car couldn't start. Yeah, you can have this kind of problem.
But they don't plan to do it. Yeah. And if one producer artificially and purposely reduce the useful life of the product, the functionality is exactly the same. And producer B don't do that, and they introduce the same product. Producer A and producer B introduce the same product.
Yep.
After some time, do you think which producer will gain more customer, will gain more revenue?
Yeah, but they also affected by the price, right? Because they can like charge a higher price if they know their product quality is better than its competitors. And
no,
also,
I mean,
yes.
no, I know. But make it simpler first, because you need to break it down to the first principle and understand why they have the incentive to do that, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Look at a
Yep.
simple case. Look at a simple case first. Producer A and producer B, they introduce the same product, exactly the same, function is the same, price is
Yeah.
the same, and producer A purposely and artificially reduce the useful life, but producer B don't do that.
Yeah, it is not going to work because people after sometimes people know that, and it
And
damages your image.
and they'll share to their friends, they'll share to their family member, they'll make the YouTube review, and they have the incentive to do that. If producer A and producer B have the, let's say, the affiliate marketing, or have the some commissions based marketing, yeah, will you recommend producer A product, or will you recommend producer B product?
Yeah.
And also, thinking from the physics perspective, the first principle perspective, producer A do it purposely, they must incur a cost to that. Because you do it purposely, you try to reduce the useful life purposely, you try to break something, but not to the extent that the product cannot be used.
Yeah.
It must cost you the energy, it must cost you something. But producer B, like in nature, try to produce a product, let the useful life be nature. If the useful life is short, that means and also consumer don't want to buy the product, that means I didn't produce a good product. I need to improve myself to find out which part is wrong. I need to adjust myself to produce the product that the useful life is enough, is more than expected, or is accepted, is acceptable by the consumer, can be accepted by the consumer. Because the consumer value the product, and I'm the producer, I'm the seller, I cannot force the buyer to buy my product. They have their own value judgment.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you move it to a higher level, right? You can build a brand. You can build the things. You can build a brand. And if you have higher brand, or you are the oligopoly, or if you are the monopoly, you can do that. Yeah.
Yep.
But do you believe in free markets? If you believe in free market, how dare you confirm it can work forever? So is it good for long term? Yeah. And you are the company. Are you trying to achieve a short term benefit, or achieve a long term benefits, long term profitability, or you just you want to get one shot profits?
Yeah.
And the brand you build up also need your investment,
Yep.
And try to list out what's the brand you think they kind of apply this kind of strategy, apply the planned obsolescence. Give me some example.
Yeah, I think I actually like the concept you say, trade-off. Yeah, some products they have shorter lifespan than other competitors, but at the same time they reflect that on the price. Yeah, they are cheaper, much cheaper than other brand. Yeah, so I think that is a trade-off. Yeah, because if they make the same quality as the competitors, maybe their price couldn't fight with them. They couldn't
Yes, you're right.
compete with them. So that is a trade-off, which is like the producer's ability to position themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you ask me planned obsolescence, actually there is one case. I think that is some exception, which is not common one, which is I think it's like maybe 100 years ago or or 70 years ago, uh, the light bulbs. Yeah, at that time actually they produced the light bulbs. A few companies they actually keep improving the quality of the light bulbs, and then it is more and more durable. Yeah,
Mm,
and up to a point they found that some of the company couldn't afford, couldn't survive if they keep improving the quality, and all of them doing the same thing. And
mm,
then the light bulbs can use for like 10, 20, 30 years without broken. So
mm,
all of the company actually come together and then sign an agreement. They need to make the light bulbs shorter lifespan.
mm,
Yeah, actually it's already more than that, but they kind of like going backward. They reduce the lifespan of the products. They sign the agreement. They couldn't sell products which is more durable than these. Yeah, I think this is one of the exception.
But how about the cost? How about the price of the light bulb? If the light bulb can really use 10 years and
Mm.
the functionality and also uh, the electricity consumption is exactly the same like the new, and also the light is as strong as a new one, why consumer won't pay a higher price? Just like you pay higher price for a house, you pay higher price for a car that you expect it can use 10 years, more than 10 years, compared to a toothpaste you expect it can only use like 3 months. Mm.
Yeah.
This is my question. And another question is, look at nowadays, is a light bulb still the quality and also the technology associated with the light bulb, and also maybe the functionality, and also the improvement, is the light bulb still improving? If yes, what break that scenario, which they have signed the agreement but didn't last? Didn't last for maybe 5 years, didn't last for 10 years. And after some time, some people break it, some people try to produce a better product, or maybe the technology bring down the cost. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so make it the light bulb become one of the most inexpensive product around the world. Everyone can afford. And if you look at 100 years and 70 years, only rich people can afford the light bulb. But why right now the light bulb is everywhere? And this linked to another point. You can reduce the useful life of your product in order to sell for a certain type of customer, or you can try to improve your product and reduce the cost and sell as many as customer as possible until the whole market,
Yeah.
until the whole population, because of the whole population issue, the market becomes saturated. Which one will you prefer?
Mm.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So even though you make a good point, and sure we will have this kind of case, we also have the case, for example, like the oil, the crude oil, because they are this is the oligopoly industry, and they have to sign the agreement by each other that agree they don't increase the supply. They don't increase the supply of the oil, so everyone keep a constant supply, so that everyone will still keep everyone can keep the profitability. Yeah.
Yeah.
But try to imagine if the technology bring down the cost 10 factors. 10 factors. Did this kind of agreement still work? because this is still a very high capital intensive industry, and there is a lot of risk, and they don't want to risk themselves. This is for long term. This is for foreseeable future. It's better off for everyone to sign an agreement and reduce the supply or keep the supply at a constant. Otherwise, everyone keep producing the oil and there's no much demand. And how do you store the oil? You couldn't store it, and it will make the pollution. And last year, the future of the crude oil went negative. This is the reason. This is something physical goods. This is not digital goods. It needs a place to store, and it requires you to pay the cost. And when someone increase the supply, they earn a lot of profit, and other ones also want to increase the supply.
Yeah.
And when everyone increases the supply, the demand couldn't absorb the supply, and of the producer, went bankrupt. Because now you have higher costs, but your revenue is lower. There's so much oil.
Yep.
And you want to give away the oil at this time. And it turns your profitability actually. Yeah. And it also can link to many topics. For example, why in the food industry or in the grocery industry, the vegetable or the or the food become a little bit
not fresh.
Yeah, not fresh, and also like the rotten, but it still can eat. You can get rid of the rotten part and you still can eat it. But why they throw the whole unit? Yeah. And also you see about the fresh food, the fresh food sold in the supermarket. There's so many fresh foods, right?
Yeah.
And do they sell all? No, they didn't sell all. And you look at all industry in the food and beverages, they couldn't sell all of their product.
Yeah.
No matter it's like the cake, no matter it's like the bread, no matter it's like the fresh chicken, any other type of food.
Yep.
It has an expiry date. And what they do, they don't give away. They throw it. Because if they give away, it will affect their long-term profitability. Because when customers know that they are going to reduce the price, they are going to give offer price, they wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, you have talked about many of the points, which is about producer and also about consumer. So at the end, we still see that it requires a win-win situation for both parties, so that something can last, right? For example, user, if they purposely reduce the durability of a product, and if he couldn't get a particular targeted customer group, and then he also couldn't survive. Yeah, if there is a particular group of people they like to buy these kind of products, less durable and maybe lower cost, then that actually create a win-win to both of the parties, right?
Yeah. And do you think is this a must to achieve a win-win?
Win-win, unless there is like more power to the producer, let's say monopoly, and then maybe they are backed by the government, they have really strong power, then maybe that is not a win-win.
No, it is still a win-win. Yeah.
But consumer isn't satisfied with that, right?
What? Yeah. Yeah, consumer satisfied with that. Of course. Otherwise, they won't buy the product.
Yeah, but that is the case that consumer has no choice. They are forced to they actually are willing to do that, but no other substitute, no other choices.
If
So they,
if there's nobody produce a product,
Mm.
then the consumer will die. If they have no other choice and they have to do the thing, and so they have to buy the product, and they couldn't produce a product by themselves.
yeah, you can say so.
They will just worse off. For example, now all the car manufacturer, all the car producer just went disappeared. Try to
Yep.
imagine, or all the internet provider just went disappeared. Compared to all the internet producer, all the internet provider, they double their price. Which one you prefer?
Yep.
I prefer all of them double their price because it is still affordable. Yeah. Just like the inflation, why the inflation keep going up, you still buy the product because you need to survive. But there's a point. After there's a threshold. After crossing a threshold, you don't want to you want to fight with them. You will do anything you can fight with them, and you can group of people and
go to this rally, demonstrate.
Yeah, or broke the company. You can do all these things. So, but this is another topic related to social unrest. And why I would say it must win-win. It must a win-win situation. This is actually the most fundamental concept in economics. Of course, it's not the mainstream economics. Yeah, you can say it's a classic economic, or you can say the Austrians economic. And what is the most fundamental understanding and also concept, which is consumer buy the product because they value the money less so than the product. The lesser the value of product they can provide to the consumer. So they use a lesser satisfactories of state of affairs in exchange a greater satisfactories of state of exchange of state affair. So this means in layman language, you use a cheaper thing to exchange more valuable thing. You use a less valuable thing to exchange a higher valuable thing. Yeah. Because you can't. First thing is the money is an exchange tool. Yeah. Of course you cannot. Of course you cannot keep your money. You cannot eat your money. Yeah. But this is not the main point. The main point is you want the thing. You want the food, because the value of the food provided to you greater than the value of the money provided to you. Try to imagine you can eat 3 meals per day, but when the food price rise so much, rise a lot, you can reduce the consumption. You can reduce 3 meals to 2 meals. You still can survive. You're a little bit starved. Yeah, you'll feel a little bit hungry.
Yeah.
But if the price increase so much, you can adjust your behavior, reduce your meal frequency, and reduce your meal consumption. Yeah, of course there's a point. But we have a lot of things we can adjust. And can the producer afford that adjustment? If everyone reduce the meal from 3 to 2, can the producer afford that? Yeah. And also from another side, from the producer side, because the producer value the money more than the product they give you, they sell you. So they want money, they don't want the product. So they sell you a product. Otherwise, they can just keep their product. Why they want to take your money, right?
Yeah.
So one side consumer think the product has higher value. So consumer willing to give up their money. Another side producer think that the money value is higher than the product they produce. So they want the money, they sell the product. By having this kind of scenario, they will have a trade. Otherwise, they won't have a trade. Either consumer don't want to buy the product, either producer don't want to produce a product. So it must be a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And also, you just need food, you just need water, you just need oxygen to survive. Technically, you just need this thing to survive. And also physically, technically and physically. Right? And you can grow your own foods. You can get your own water. You can drink rainwater. You can filter the water by your own. You can grow your own food. And nobody can stop you to breathe the air. Yeah. You can sleep in the park. You can sleep on the bench of the park. You can just find a corner and sleep. Nobody can force you. Yeah. Yeah. And from this extent, it really go to the extreme. Really go to the extreme. Producer still need to produce the thing that consumer thinks the value provide to them greater than the money they're holding. Otherwise, the consumer would just produce the product by themselves. It goes back to the first thing we discussed, which is if the consumer have the ability to produce the same thing as producer and they have the same information, but at this case, the price, the opportunity cost is the same. The producer will prefer produce by themselves.
Yeah, this is the exchange and productivity, right? I recall something from the economy.
Yes.
Yep, and also win-win. I think it really exists almost in every way. Otherwise, the exchange will be broken, right? One side or both sides, they will not comes together. Yeah. Whenever they comes together, there must be a win-win. Yeah, even though one side maybe feel not so satisfied, but that is they still view the product and services they get higher value than the money. Yeah, like you say.
Yeah, otherwise they won't pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
So
go back to the topic, which is is good or bad. I think it is a win-win. And yeah, I think that one of the takeaway from this topic, also from your sharing, is you actually teach me to focus on the correct terms, which is planned obsolescence. Obsolescence is the key point here, more important than the plan. I think I focus on the wrong point and going to the wrong direction, and then further discussion doesn't make much point.
Yeah, and also obsolescence is also not the main point in the view of consumer preference most of the time.
Yeah. Okay, so I have nothing to talk about. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, me
Right.
too.
So,
So talk
to,
to you tomorrow.
yeah, okay, goodbye.
Bye.